Good looking too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, get it
In
ready.
your closet.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June 10th, 2024 Kill Devil Hills Board of Commissioners meeting. I invite everyone to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening, we must take a moment to share news of the passing of retired Deputy Fire Chief Craig Clark. His service with the town began as a volunteer firefighter in June of 1981. He was hired as a fire inspector and ultimately was promoted to Deputy Fire Chief in 1987. And he retired after 27 years of dedicated service. His wife, Margaret, in our finance department, and his son, Devin, a fire engineer, also work with the town. We extend our deepest condolences to the entire family, and I ask that you keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Please join me for a moment of silence. Okay. All right. The next item of business this evening is our agenda approval. Board, we have an agenda in front of us.
I'll make that motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
We have,
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we have an agenda. Our next item of business is a public hearing for the town manager's recommended budget for fiscal year 2024, 2025. And Casey, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. So, as the mayor said, there is a public hearing being conducted this evening. Following rules will apply. Public notice of this hearing was published in the newspaper and posted on bulletin boards within the town and on the town's website, which meets or exceeds statutory requirements for the subject matter. A copy of the notice has also been filed with the town clerk for entry into the official record of the hearing. The town clerk is going to be recording all comments in a concise and brief manner. If there's any written statements, they'll be recorded in a similar manner and also made part of the record. However, they must be submitted to the town prior to the hearing. And if speaking tonight, please come to the microphone so that your statement can be recorded. Identify yourself using name and address. Of course, there's no debates. 3 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of yourself, 5 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of a group, or if your statement was submitted in writing. So public hearing is now coming to order, and it's called again for the purpose of the KDH Board of Commissioners to consider the town manager's recommended budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. If anyone's out there interested in speaking, please approach the podium and share your name and address prior to commenting. No rushing, man. Y'all sure? All right. We'll go back to you guys then. I don't think we got anybody.
Well, that's that. I assume we don't take any action until after the workshop, so we can just move on.
Yes, sir. We'll
Move on to the next
Yes,
item.
sir.
All right, that being said, next item of business is this evening's first opportunity for public comment. Now is the time we set a time for public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board on any topic of their choosing. We do ask when you are called upon, approach the podium, speak into the microphone, identify yourself by name and address. There will be no debates. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes if you're speaking as an individual and 5 minutes if you are speaking on behalf of the group. Has anybody signed up for public comment this evening? No. Well, if I see a hand up, please approach the podium and let me hear from you.
Hello,
Nice to see you all. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. My name is Julie Owens Robinson, and I'm the owner of a historic landmark cottage at 2019 South Virginia Trail with my sister Diane Owens Jones. I'd like to begin by saying thank you to the Planning Board and Inspection Board for enforcing the dune protection ordinance that was amended last year. We've had near our house a major violation that was their response was quick, and we appreciate that. But what I'm really here for tonight is to talk about a safety issue in a proposed project right next to our house that will be at 2021 South Virginia Trail. And I know this hasn't been, I don't think the permits have been issued yet, but I did want to make the board aware of one of the proposals in the project. And this is a safety issue with the parking proposal there. This is a 16-bedroom house, and as required, there will be 16 parking places for that. And if you can see by the drawing here, the plan is to have the 16 cars, 3 cars across, 5 rows deep with no access lane and no way to turn around. And my family was there when the house burned at 2033 South Virginia Dare Trail. And my sister and her family had to evacuate in the middle of the night and watched in horror as that house was engulfed in flames very quickly. And the cars also caught fire and exploded and were burned to the chassis. So we're concerned that this is a safety risk for our family and our house. There's no access lane, no way for emergency vehicles to get to this house if there happened to be an emergency. The people in the cars would have to turn or back out into the street to get their cars out of the driveway. And according to the ordinances that I've read in 153.076, it says that vehicle accommodation areas, specifically turnaround areas, shall be designed so that without resorting to extraordinary movements, vehicles may exit such areas without backing onto a public street. Also, that vehicle accommodation areas of all development shall be designed so that sanitation, emergency, and other public service vehicles can serve such developments without the necessity of backing unreasonable distances or making other dangerous or hazardous turning movements. And finally, that circulation areas shall be designed so that vehicles can proceed safely without posing a danger to pedestrians or other vehicles and without interfering with parking areas. And Memorial Day weekend, we saw our first full-fledged event at one of the houses near us. There were 18 cars in the driveway with an access lane, and those cars had to back out to get out of the driveway. This is a high-density population area with the Marriott across the street. There will be now 4 of the large event houses in that area. And I just feel that it's not really conforming to the code based on the information I just read. And I really feel that it's a safety issue and puts the lives of the guests in the houses. It puts the lives of our family members and the structure of our historic cottage at risk. I applaud Kill Devil Hills for the landmark designation program because it does try to save these old houses, but without any kind of restriction on the building that goes adjacent to these houses. Many property owners like ourselves find ourselves in the predicament of having to either sell or relocate these cottages. These houses are designed to be open air porches and are used as living areas, and with the noise and the late night partying that we've heard Memorial Day weekend being the first time, we found ourselves having to be shut inside. So with the risk of the parking and all of the other things going on with these huge event spaces, it's a shame. And I'm afraid that we're going to be one of the ones that may not be able to hold out. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie.
Would anybody else like to speak at this public comment period? All right, seeing nobody else, response to public comment. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Meredith, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Can you give us an update on the ordinance on access lane parking to oceanfront homes?
Yes, if you remember,
Yeah.
we did address some safety issues at large event houses or large single-family dwellings, and 11 bedrooms or more, and they have a parking setback from the property lines of 7 feet, with the exception that they can go to 5-foot setbacks if they have the drive aisle access. It was an incentive, not a requirement, because we can't put fire requirements on single-family dwellings. And this particular structure was able to get the 7-foot setback with their parking without having to take the exception and put the access way in. And the turnaround area, our ordinance says if your driveway is 20 feet in width, that counts as your turnaround area, because we have a setback of parking equal to the width of the driveway. So there's a 20 by 20 space that's technically not required parking that by ordinance counts as a turnaround area to eliminate the extraordinary movement.
Okay, thank you. Wow, so just to be clear, you all mentioned that the plans may not have been submitted yet. Have these plans been submitted?
They've been submitted, yes. They have
Okay.
not been permitted. There's a violation on the site.
Okay. That's a lot of cars. Certainly is. Anybody else like to chime in?
That was my question, was how did they negotiate around? I guess it's an incentive, not a requirement.
Yeah.
So,
The only thing we can do is create those incentives, and if it wasn't taken because they don't need it, then the incentive is not good enough, and then
The lot width on this particular structure is a little bit wider than the majority of our 50-foot wide properties. And the 50-foot wide properties can't do 7 feet and fit that amount of parking. They have to take the incentive of 5. This is a slightly wider lot, so they're,
It's 46 feet. This lot's 46 feet.
then I need to look at the site plan again because I don't have it off the top of my head.
until they come up with another designation for these homes not being single family residences, it won't, our hands are tied on some of those things.
I will say at our board retreat on Saturday, we did discuss parking. Parking was on our list. So it is something that we're talking about, and we're trying to come up with some solutions for. So it's on our list for sure.
It certainly is something we're aware of, and it's a priority. It's just Commissioner McAvoy stated the designation of a single-family home for those larger event spaces. It doesn't give us a lot of room to work with, so we have to be creative, and we've gone the incentive route, and we've had some success, but unfortunately, in this case, it did not fit the bill. Well, any more response to public comments? Thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on to our next item, ongoing business. Town manager, any ongoing business tonight?
Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to new business. Item number 1, site plan review for 1106 Blue Jay Street, proposed professional office building. Getting the dentist. Is anybody here in the audience today on behalf of the project? Well, podium's yours if you'd like to share.
Everybody.
Good evening. My name is David Ryan with Creative Engineering Solutions, and I'm here representing the applicant, Sopling Land Company. With me tonight is Chris Nason, who is the architect on the job with Beacon Architecture, as well as the applicant, Dr. Trey Maynard. What I wanted to go ahead and just point out is that with this site development plan, we gave thoughtful consideration to the adjoining properties, and that's reflected on the site plan with the compact design and being able to go ahead and retain the existing vegetative buffers. We considered the fact that we do have adjoining residential properties, and it was important to go ahead and keep those buffers to those properties. And so without going ahead and going into a prolonged summation of the project, we would just like to say, I think we've been able to navigate a lot of the issues with staff during the review process, and we thank you for their patience as we went through the process. And we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have regarding the application, and thank you for your consideration.
Mayor, the planning board did vote to unanimously to forward this to the Board of Commissioners, recommending approval.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just want to say that it's really cool that you guys kept that vegetative buffer in the back. We don't see that very often. It's really cool.
Yeah, there are some beautiful live oaks on the
Yeah.
property, and we thought it was really important to go ahead and retain
Yeah.
those.
It's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think it's a neat, it fits that neighborhood well. You got some diverse businesses there, and you have a nice, thriving residential neighborhood, but also it's light industrial back there too. So a good fit. I think it's going to enhance it. Be good for everybody. So
I'm going to be able to
Blend
bike
in
to my
well.
dentist.
yeah.
Blend in well.
Well, unless there's any further questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a pair of seconds. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Okay.
What's happening now?
Yeah, what's happening now? Let's move on to new business item number 2. And I have to make a request of our board and staff to please, we're getting ready to discuss partnership organizations of which I'm affiliated with one and need to request to be excused as to, keep things on the up and up. So I would entertain a motion to excuse myself from the meeting at this point and turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Ingram to conduct the next piece of business.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay.
Great.
Get in your closet.
To the room with you.
Great.
Do I need to move over?
I got it.
Just stay.
No, you're good. Mayor Pro Tem and Board, over the years, the town has entered into partnerships with various organizations to accomplish the missions and provide services for our citizens. To date, those 4 partnerships involve the Community Care Clinic of Dare, Interfaith Community Outreach, Nags Head Woods Ecological Preserve, and the Outer Banks YMCA. These organizations are not just provided a donation from the town, they receive funding to provide specialized services to our citizens on the town's behalf, and they're required to provide an annual report to the board on their operations as a part of this relationship. In 2021, the General Assembly enacted North Carolina General Statute 14234.3, which lays out stringent requirements for municipal governing board members who also serve as officers, directors, board members of a nonprofit that receive funding through a contract with the municipality. Any member of a governing board who also serves in an organization in that capacity, as listed above, is not permitted to knowingly participate in a discussion about voting on funding for those contracts to that specific organization. Historically, funding for the partnerships has been a part of the budget review process in the town manager's recommended budget, which it is this evening. In consideration of the board's continuing commitment to transparency and to following our consultant with the North UNC School of Government, the staff recommends the Board of Commissioners approve the funding level for the following partnership organizations for fiscal year 24-25 through a separate motion, which would be included as a part of the town manager's recommended budget for 24-25. Those partnerships are as follows: Community Care Clinic of Dare, $10,000; Interfaith Community Outreach, $10,000; Nags Head Woods Economic Reserve, $5,000; and the Outer Banks YMCA, $5,000. And a motion would be in order, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
And
Is
then
there-
when you said separate, do they need to go through
No,
each?
when-
Okay, so
No.
separate from the budget
Separate
vote.
from the budget
Got
itself.
it, okay.
The budget ordinance, yes.
I would
Yes, sir.
move that we approve partnership organization contributions from the town of Killable Hills as presented, new business. Is that good? Catch you covered?
Mhm.
All right.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Let him out.
Yeah, good. I'm glad we didn't forget to call him out.
Let's see.
Wake up.
Now,
Come
I'll
on.
give it some direction. There's permission to be let out. Okay. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda was committee reports. Anything to
Nothing
share?
here, sir.
Nothing from me, sir.
All right.
Just from the CAC, we've got these great bags, reusable bags that they're going to be giving out at different events. So look for those, or if anyone wants one, I've got a box. But they'll, at our table setups, we'll have, that'll be part of it.
That's cool. The hope you got a lot made for the Halloween. What is it called? The Halloween parade that we do out here,
Mhm.
because trick or treaters do well, and those will be big success there. Okay, moving on to commissioner's agenda.
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
Anything?
I just wanted to say, I told Ross this the other day, but I think it's worth saying again. The buildings and grounds, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they're putting new mulch everywhere. I mean, they're just, it's amazing. If you really look around, they're doing a lot with the signage and at our parks, and it just looks really good, and I appreciate it. And I've had several people comment on it, so thought it was worth
It
mentioning.
is very nice.
They do a wonderful
Mhm.
job.
Looks good.
We'll pass it along. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to mayor's agenda, a few things. On behalf of our board in the town of Killable Hills, I'd like to congratulate all of our 2024 graduates from our high schools and our high school community. Congratulations to each and every one of you and to our families. Some news to share: the Centennial Horse rededication and unveiling. For those of you in the meeting this evening, you may have seen the newly renovated courtyard in front of the town hall meeting room, which has been landscaped beautifully by our building and ground staff, as Mayor Pro Tem Ingram was commenting on. They have also built a platform with which will house the town's newly restored Centennial Horse Pegasus. Local Outer Banks artist Cliff Dunn has done an outstanding job, and Killable Hills is excited to share our updated horse with the community. I hope everyone will join us at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, June 26th, just before our next board meeting, for Pegasus Says Unveiling. One last quick thing. I'd like to thank staff and the board for a very pleasant and successful retreat we had last weekend. Enjoyed everyone's time. I felt it was productive and some of the best coffee cake I've ever had. World class. So highest compliments to the chef and also to Stan Keeler. He was a very good facilitator. Did a very nice job. So thank you to everyone involved. That said, we can move on to town manager's agenda.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Town attorney's agenda.
Nothing for me.
And all right, next item is our consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Consent agenda. The first item is the minutes from the May 22nd, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting, the April 2024 monthly report. We have 3 budget amendments that are outlined in the memo as to what they represent. And then lastly, the Partnership Organization annual reports. These are the last three from those four. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented, and a motion would be in order.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a consent agenda. Before moving on to our general work session, I'd like to call for a quick 5-minute break so we can kind of reorganize ourselves and get ready for the next step. 5 minutes.
You're very efficient.
There you go. Look at
Thank
him go.
you.
Getting all that.
Thank you, Casey.
Is that going to be a long 5 minutes, Counselor? Is that going to be a long 5 minutes? Have a good one. He might have picked up a phone. I think so. Heard the siren. Yeah, he did clean up pretty good for that county.
He did. They were the camera was pointed. It was,
Yeah,
and it went on for a long time.
I did.
It did. It was- After our retreat, I went back and watched the housing thing. I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't expect Casey was going to be up there.
We were commenting that Casey dressed up real good.
Yeah. I never seen him that clean shave, tie. It was good.
Yeah. That's a
I
bummer.
wish they had that. I wish they could have found a way to. work
I
on
know.
that a little more.
I know.
But the two.
Yeah. The concept was decent.
It was a good.
It was-
The space was
Yeah.
couldn't be better.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Such a bummer.
I tried to catch you here.
I think
The retreat.
they could have found a way to make it work. It would have been very innovative. We got a lot of attention.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, wears me down.
Yep.
That's not good to see. Good to see.
Is that your coffee?
It's water, but I stole my water cups.
Okay. I was
I'm being
curious
punished.
because I was sitting there saying, Cup was there before he got here.
No, I think I stole my cup. Can't take it back.
Yeah.
Good.
Was that for smacking?
Debbie's really well.
Gotcha.
I'm glad Dylan's sitting next to you. If that's
Oh,
the
dear.
case. If anything happens, he's in. Well,
Everybody got Red Bulls?
is everybody ready to proceed with our workshop? All right. Next item of business is our general workshop. Town managers recommended budget for fiscal year 2024, 2025. And Debbie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I think I mentioned to you when this was presented, at some point we talked about it, that this is the first year of our new budget software.
Right.
That's why your budget looks a bit different. I'd say it was an A+ choice. I mean, you never know when you're changing software. You're hopeful. The vendors tell you all this wonderful stuff. But
We were very pleased.
yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
So if there's no objections, let's do what we typically do, and that's delve into the departments. Just do a quick review of all of that. Then we can go back and touch base with our revenues. As you know, we estimate our revenues very conservatively. But is that good for everybody? To go to tab 6?
Good for me.
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
So tab 6. And Ron's going to do his thing up on the screen. Hopefully anyone in the audience that would like to watch. Kind of a highlight for both the general fund and the water fund. We have recommended a 4% COLA in both funds. You'll see that throughout the budget and individual departments. Happily report that we have seen a decrease in our workers' comp, which is a decrease of 7%, which is reflected departmentally. And then just for admin, some of the sponsored events that we're continuing with, the 4th of July fireworks, Christmas at Town Hall, Ice Cream Social, the Track Attack, the Bright Lights Illumination, and funding our Community Appearance Commission. If you flip on over from there, you'll get into the line items in the administration, which also includes our Board of Commissioners and our legal fees. Any questions, I'll be glad to address. Angel can as well.
I'm assuming that miscellaneous special events line item is for fireworks, Christmas Town Hall.
That's, yes, that's
Okay.
the big boy. Mhm.
Thank you.
And we do get grant funding from the Visitors Bureau for that. It's not a 50-50, but it's
Right.
a nice amount.
Is the CAC still at 5,000?
Yes, sir. And that seems to be working. They're
Yeah.
able to purchase the things.
Because yours doesn't all get used, so
I think they used it to like less than $100
it is.
this for this. Yeah. 102 or something like that. It's pretty good.
But we need to keep it right there in case something.
Oh, yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's good. If there's no additional questions there, we can go to tab 7, which is your buildings and grounds.
We talked at the retreat
Mhm.
about the staffing levels and so on and so forth. And it may be that a lot of different departments need to be adjusted. And of course, we've got the staffing study coming.
Mhm.
But I'm real concerned about buildings and grounds because, like you pointed out, Ivy, they do a lot of work. And those guys, just like with Meekins Field, they're constantly putting in time there. I just say we need to pay special attention, to them, and during the staffing study, make sure it gets addressed.
Oh, absolutely. We have tried to help them with some temporary, whenever we see that need. It's just, as we discussed a little bit on Saturday, just finding
Sure.
the working bodies has been very difficult. We did just recently, were able to find someone for our public services to help with, the different things that come on in the summer and so forth. But
Well, we just want to make sure, I think we want to make sure that we give you what you need to be able to help them.
thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody good?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And that's the only yellow tab I had in my book.
All right.
I got a yellow tab.
Now, he's got a bunch.
I got a bunch.
Oh, boy.
This is a little nitpicky, but I can't resist. On tab capital outlay, $20,000 for a mower. That's got to be a nice lawnmower. Yeah, I just curious if we can get some details on like use and lifespan, and it's a nice. Big,
They have a lot of mowing large areas. I can't tell you anything
Yeah.
specifically about it.
I was curious the lifespan of yeah.
They're industrial. I mean, they've got to be able to handle.
Yeah,
Probably one of those huge decks.
yeah. It's got to be.
Mhm.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
It's probably not going to blow your mind when you see it. I mean, it's really not.
I was like, wow.
You'd be, yeah.
Maybe you can take it for a cruise.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a
Yeah.
mayor's
Like
ride.
That'd be
Mayor-
nice. Yeah.
I'll help them. All right. A mower.
Okay, then we'll move on to tab 8, which is our finance and tax department. The health insurance renewal rates are 6% for both active and retirees. One that hit us pretty hard was our property and liability insurance rate increased by 40%. You're all seeing that at your homes yourselves. You get it. We've also included the actuary study for the other post-employment benefit values required by GABC 75 and contribute to the OPENB irrevocable trust. These are some of those non-funded mandates that we get to see, that we get to fund.
So Debbie, the 40% increase on property and liability insurance is, I guess it's pretty standard for all towns and organizations right now. I know a lot of homeowners are feeling similar pain, but it's just, okay.
Yeah, and just talking with some of the staff, our staff, I think even more shockingly with some of them is being dropped by insurance companies that they've been with for quite a number of years, never having a claim and just being told that the risk is too great. And
Yeah,
having to
that's
go
really-
to the pool. I mean, that happened to my, my home a few years ago. Meredith and Michael, Ron, yeah.
And I'll add one thing that contributed to that was last year they did a revaluation of our properties, which they hadn't done in several years. And
And it went
obviously
way up.
those values shot up.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I think you mentioned the workers' comp had gone down,
I know.
which
Well,
is a great sign. I mean, it's just a safe environment. There was less
Well-
claims.
yeah, that's your ratio. Yeah, if you a number of years ago, and I can't give you an exact amount of years, but we had a few substantial claims, and you have to get through those. And eventually it's kind of like your points on your car insurance,
Yeah.
and then it comes off. But our employees have done a really great job with the, being mindful and helping to prevent those kind of accidents, injuries.
Another question, a tax collection contract with Deer County is recommended. That's a business as usual. We've
We've been doing
long as I
that
can
for a
remember.
long, long time, and we found it to be very, very valuable for us.
Very good.
Very helpful. People write the one check.
Yeah,
And
nice. We always have like a 99 point something tax. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not too many people get by it, so that it
No,
works.
they take a really hard line on tax collection. As they should.
Yeah.
Tab 9 is your MIS division. As you know, our longtime it girl, as we like to call her, Nora did retire, and we have a new young man that's working with us now. It's working out very well. So this is a one-person operation. And I will say that there is, Kurt in police does help us a lot as a backup. They're MIT. Fleet maintenance is your next division in finance. Another small department that does a tremendous amount of work.
Mhm.
And obviously, we're enjoying having those fuel tanks on site. And as you know, we were able to make arrangements so the EMS also uses those tanks, so we didn't have to use space at the new fire station EMS for them to have a fuel tank system. So it saved space and saved everybody money.
Great.
And we had the capacity to do that. If there's no yellow tabs, we'll go on to planning and
breath.
development. Going to do some chapter updates and also a recreation facilities plan update. This is all going to kind of dovetail with what we talked about too on Saturday, bring out that bomb track plan and see where we are with all of that.
Just for my own curiosity, what are charter updates, or chapter updates? Is that
It's
just
your
like the
zoning.
zoning update?
It's,
Okay.
yeah. mhm. Yeah. Tab 12 is beach nourishment. Simply we're paying back and moving forward.
Mhm.
I think they've been doing some surveying out there recently, haven't they, Meredith?
Yeah, they are doing their annual monitoring, so a lot of folks have been coming in very close. I could ask Chief, but I don't think we've gotten a lot of calls, because I think that our PIO put out some information that they were gonna be out there. There've been a couple trucks, well, they have all the signs and everything, and then the small little boat that comes in extremely close to the shore that you think, oh Lord, someone doesn't know what they're doing, but they very much do. So we'll get that report. We get it sometime in August or September.
I did see one of those.
Tab 13 is your police department. And then the animal control division.
Question about animal control, and just under objectives, the second point, to minimize euthanasia of domestic pet animals by providing our citizens with opportunities for pet adoption through the Kill Devil Hills Animal Control. Will that be a new project for the next fiscal year, or is it something that's already ongoing, an adoption process?
Well, we have, I know, had at least one, if not more than one, opportunity to where we have an animal that we were able to find home for, that we didn't need to take over to Dare County. Just sometimes you just feel like that you're going to be able to have someone that would be interested locally and take care of that situation. It's not something that we do a lot of, but we're not opposed if we can help find a home and alleviate them having to have that burden.
Okay.
And I think all of our goals is
Yeah.
no kill shelters.
Yeah. That's why I got my dog. They were taking the SPCA, they brought her in and she flew to me within 3 nanoseconds. So she adopted me, I didn't adopt her.
Or if Kelly gets one and she goes, oh, I know where I'm going with this one. And you wind up with
The Debbie Sanctuary.
Okay. Fire department, 15. They're going to be getting ready to move into their new dig soon.
Ready for that, aren't you? Looks good.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
Looks really good.
Much needed.
Ocean Rescue, and got to meet crew for this summer. I'm sure you recognize some of the names and some of the faces. It's really, I think it's really neat to see so many of our local young people
It's really cool.
on our team.
A question about, it mentions here we increased the salary for lifeguards to start at 19. What is the scale? What's starting, what's cap? How far does it go?
gosh, I don't, do you have that? I don't have it. I will tell you, without totally answering your question, there's different, it starts at 19. If you're EMS certified, that's an additional amount. The number of years will increase. It's very competitive in Dare County, and we feel like we have a really good crew, and we'd like to keep them compensated well.
Okay, I just was curious.
I'll be glad to share that with you. I just don't have it with me. What the
My first glance, I mean, wages have gone up a lot in Dare County in the last few years. Is 19 enough? You know, do we need to take a glance at that maybe to?
we watch it closely,
Yeah.
and we're comfortable with the 19.
All right.
But like I say, there's a lot of incentive, and a lot of our guards meet those incentives. I think it's an extra $1 if you're EMS. Yeah, and we've got several, which is nice. You know, it's nice having that. That's what Dave was talking about with, you know, those guys are able to deal with a lot out there before other people arrive.
Right.
But we keep a good eye on it.
And that's clear in the amount that come back, I think. I mean, there was, I think I was trying to count. I think there was 5 that it was their first year, maybe 6. Everybody else was 3, 4.
And, you know, some of those folks, I mean, like that one young man that lives in Austin, in Texas. I mean, I understand why you'd rather be here in the summer than in Texas. I get it.
And there's not many things that she don't keep a close eye on.
Okey-dokey. 17 streets. And we talked just a little bit Saturday about the fact that Commissioner McAvoy will be calling his committee for a meeting soon to address where we go next after Wrightsville. And again, as we also talked just a little bit Saturday about how well we feel that plan works, where we're able to give those bidders extra time. They can start getting their materials and supplies and get us scheduled. And there's a lot of money, but the bids did come in good. You've noticed in the front part of your budget where there are the capital reserve ordinances, there is a new capital reserve ordinance. It includes sidewalk and multi-use path. We're proposing to begin that funding this year at $153,000. And that will be one of the ordinances that you adopt when you adopt the budget ordinance.
For the mowing, edging, and sweeping of 158, how many passes are scheduled for the 100,000?
It's a mix. So many sidewalk edging passes, 2 of those, 4 sweeping passes, and then the mowing is every other week from April through October.
Ain't bad.
Made a huge difference.
Yeah, it does.
Looks all
That'd be
clean.
The POW bill, which you're all familiar with. Is your tab 18, your tab 19 is solid waste division. And here again, you allowed us to make those garbage truck purchases in advance because of the turnaround time taking so long to get them, keeping us with a healthy fleet.
Speaking of the fleet, who cleans those? The exterior? Y'all pressure wash them or what?
The drivers, there's a washout pit with a steam jetty, pressure washer, heat.
I was just noticing the other day, they're always clean. They
That's,
do a good job.
Each driver takes care of their own truck.
Well, they're doing a great job.
And those two
Yeah.
trucks, one is here, one's in Richmond. There was a problem with the air brakes and we got multiple people are trying to sort that out, but they did. It was beautiful that you can order them in January and have them already instead of 2 years.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
The time frame has been running is 2 years.
yeah.
Wow.
And that concludes the general fund. Would you like to go back and review the revenues before we go into the water fund? Yes? That's going to be tab 4. And as we stated, we're recommending the ad valorem tax rate remain the same, as well as the municipal service district. Looking at a small increase in some of our state and local sales tax, as well as occupancy tax. And you all know the story of how we share, our revenues are shared based on our levy percentages. And then the water fund administrative cost allocation is based on a ratio formula applied to the shared cost. Basically, what that's talking about is the work that your general fund people do for your water fund, that's them paying that back. But it's not an arbitrary number. The next page just simply shows you the revenues by source. And then the pages after that get into the amounts per item.
Question
Yes, sir.
for, under general fund comprehensive summary, sales and services, kind of right in the middle. This is just to fill me in. Fiscal year 2025 plan year, 171,000. Department requests 79,000. It's a big difference. Why is this so much less? I mean, that's 2 years out, so a lot can happen, but.
Which one are we looking at?
Tab 4, second page, page numbers. And under revenues, sales and services, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, the sales and services.
Yeah, 7th or 8th one down for 2025. Just between plan year and department request is a big difference.
During COVID, we saw a huge spike in our dumpster and trash can sales, and that has just really dropped off. And that's the big difference there. I think with houses selling and building,
Yeah,
people were just
that makes
replacing
sense.
those, and that has
It's a lot
really,
of dumpsters.
It was a lot of dumpsters and a lot of trash cans.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess once you buy a couple, you don't need them for
Yeah,
a
then
while.
they're set. And
They're all
they don't
stocked
anymore.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good answer to that question. Huh? Impressed.
Good with that, then we can go to tab 21, please. And then over to 22, which is the water fund revenue highlights. The water rates have the 4% increase covering operation costs, water line and system improvements that are associated with the water system master plan. The same for the water tap fee. And it includes the $18,750 repayment to the wastewater fund. Tab 24. The same bullets that I highlighted about the general fund apply for the water fund with the 4% and so forth with the insurance. Tab 25 is your water plant division of the water fund. The wholesale water rate is estimated to be $2.429 per 1,000 gallons. We're looking at doing some major renovations to the 8th Street building. Water systems, which is your next tab, 26. This includes $500,000 for water line improvements associated with street projects, and also includes $250,000, for system building replacement and maintenance yard improvements.
Is the, I assume the $500,000 for water line improvements is the Wrightsville Avenue project,
No, this would be next year's.
the following year.
You-
We're just budgeting for whatever we
Yeah, you approved everything with Wrightsville
before.
before.
You already spent that money.
Okay.
That's
We're
why I
going to
was,
the next one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. And of course, your wastewater, the operation, the maintenance of the plant has been contracted out, continues to be, and it does include that repayment to the water fund. Any questions?
I'm good. was very user-friendly to read, so it feels like software did its job.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I do have one comment. I've been looking, like I always look at the CPI, and following it. It's had some increases this year, about 3.6%. More drastically recently. The last number I had was March. I know we're doing the study for manpower and salary, but I would propose that we increase the COLA to 4.5%. I think I've talked with some staff, and I think we can get that money without causing, any burden on the tax rate. And hopefully the salary study will come out pretty good, because the cost of living is just continuing to go up. But I'd like to propose that, or at least that's my thought.
I'm in support of that. I mean, I always like to look at interest rates and home affordability, and my goodness, it's so bad for young people trying to make it in the world today. It's just, It's very difficult for a, person entering the workforce to, start out. So, a 0.5 percentage point more in COLA could help some of our folks have some breathing room.
I think you could.
I mean, as Commissioner Gray alluded, though, is this something that if we were to add it at this point in the game to the budget, we could do it? It's
Yes.
something- Okay.
You could. And it would be most appreciated by the boys, absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely be in favor of that, for sure.
Looks like everybody's shaking their head, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll,
Do you need a
no, you're
consensus
just
is
shaking your
adequate?
head.
Yeah.
Everybody's shaking their head pretty hard.
Yeah, so what we will do at your next meeting, you will have the budget ordinance. And it will reflect that additional 0.5%. The budget ordinance, and then the reserve that I've spoke to about sidewalks and multi-use paths
Right.
you would adopt. So we'll take care of that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions, comments, issues you'd like to discuss in regards to the fiscal year 24-25 budget?
Just the presentation is, it's phenomenal. It's the best one I've ever seen.
Software was a good choice.
Yeah.
Very pleased.
Yeah, once I got reading them, I got through relatively quick, and I didn't feel like I missed anything. And
It felt like it fell open.
yeah,
Well, it's the first one I've seen.
yeah,
Definitely very intimidating, but well done.
yeah,
Wait till you get the 2-year budget next year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your two is always the easier.
The
Well,
graphs and the pie choice.
Everybody ready to move on to the next item of business?
Yes, sir.
If we are, then we'll open the floor up to our second session for public comment. If anyone would like to speak. Seeing none, move on to response. Nothing. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.